I don't know why I decided to play baseball, to tell you the truth.
No?
I don't even understand it. Football player, now playing baseball, you know. But my dad asked me to play because I played Little League and all.
Okay.
And then I didn't start playing again until I got to high school.
Okay.
So I was out of baseball for a few years, and my dad asked me to play baseball.
So were you playing football during those times?
Football and basketball. I was San Gabriel Valley Player of the Year. I was All-State basketball player. I played point guard.
Okay.
4 years varsity basketball, 3 years varsity football.
So you think maybe perhaps you went the baseball route because it was your stronger suit? I mean...
Well, I'll tell you a story, and this is a real story. It was my junior year of high school, and I went to USC on a football recruiting trip.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a guy that was a linebacker there because that's the position I played. His name was Chip Banks. And they were doing linebacker drills. So both Chip Banks and this freshman kid got on their backs. Coach blew the whistle. The freshman kid picks up the ball, and he has to run through Chip Banks. Well, Chip Banks and this boy collide, and one of the screws, I think, on this boy's helmet might have popped out, and the boy got knocked out. He had a concussion, and the coach just blew the whistle and said, "Let's move down 10 yards." That's when I decided that maybe football wasn't for me, because back then I don't even think freshmen could actually play in a collegiate game. I think you had to wait until you were a sophomore. So I wasn't going to be anybody's practice dummy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so baseball just kind of grew on me. I mean, I really didn't like baseball, to tell you the truth, but it just kind of evolved into baseball.
So really you consider yourself more like of a jack of all trades?
I just think I'm a lucky dude. I mean, I think I hit the scene at the right time. I mean, it happened like overnight. You know, I was somebody.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, from 1989 to being somebody that was out of Major League Baseball, and all of a sudden I come right back, drop 50, boom, and then, you know, it started from that.
Is that something that you regret? Like, do you wish you would have gone into another
No, I can't
field?
regret that. I mean, you know, not only did I have a Major League career, but, you know, my son is having a Major League career. So, you know, we're the only father and son in Major League history to hit 50 home runs. He hit 50, I hit 50. Well, he hit 50, I hit 51. I still did one better than him. I don't think he likes that, but it is what it is. But anyway, matter of fact, it was before spring training. He called me and he said, "Hey, Dad, you see the ball I hit in Colorado?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "That was a bomb, wasn't it?" I said, "It was okay." He said, "What do you mean okay?" I said, "Son, there's a difference between me and you." I said, "You hit bombs, I leave stadiums."
So now you said that your son obviously also plays as well. Is that something, you know, as soon as he was born, like you just kind of like wanted to get him into that right away as soon as he was able to, or did you allow him the option to like play different sports and see what he was better at?
No, this kid from the time he was a year old, wearing a diaper, walking around the house with a wiffle ball bat, I knew that kid was gonna play baseball. I mean, even when he got to high school and the football coaches would be carrying these jerseys around, you know, please, you can play anywhere you want to, because the kid was absolutely stud. I mean, you know, my first cousin is Ricky Williams, so he has that in his background, football. And Prince was just, you know, big and strong. You know, for a guy his size, he ran 6'8", 60. I mean, he could have played anything he wanted to tell you the truth, but he never, ever played any sport. He played a year of basketball, I think, when he was a freshman. And then from that point forward, you know, he played baseball, and that was the only sport he played.
So now, would you have to say that your father was your biggest inspiration or your coach? Like, who was that person who kept you motivated, you know, and kept you, like, moving forward?
There's so many. I mean, you look back, Pops, of course, you know, gave me the thought process to try to get back in the game of baseball. But over my career, I mean, there's been so many people. I mean, my A-ball coaches, Dennis Holmberg, Rocket Wheeler, my AA coaches, John McLaren, J.J. Cannon, Doug Ault, Cito Gaston. I mean, there's been so many people that have kept me motivated over the years, because I tell you, even when I got to the big leagues in 1985, I won the division. You know, that was the first year they changed the series from best of 5 to a best of 7, and we ended up getting beat by Kansas City 4 games to 3. You know, Cito Gaston was probably one of my biggest supporters. You know, I always used to say, you know, I really wanted to play for him. You know, I never got the opportunity to actually play for him. He was my hitting instructor.
Okay.
He was a big league hitting coach at the time. But he just was so, like, calm and cool. I mean, you know, all his players always, you know, took to him and respected him as a manager. You know, he left the game for a long period of time. But Cecil Gaston, to me, probably was the biggest supporter I've had over my career. Even when I went to Detroit, I mean, he and I would go to his office when I come back to Toronto and talk to him about hitting. He'd try to ask me what did I have on certain pitches, why was I hitting Jimmy Key so well. You know, I wasn't going to tell him what I had, but, you know, he taught me my style of hitting. I mean, he gave me the wherewithal to really believe in what I was doing, whether it was sitting on a breaking ball or vice versa, sitting on a fastball, to believe in the fact that you're going to hit that pitch that you're looking for. I mean, he really, you know, I don't think there was anything he can do with the physical, but mentally, I mean, Cecil Gaston helped me understand the art of hitting. And me being a big man, my hitting was a little different, excuse me, from the young and, you know, the little slap hitters. You know, when I sat on pitches or when I had men on base, my job was to drive those guys in. It wasn't, you know, me going up there striking out or me going up there popping up. You know, my job was to drive them in. So, you know, my first couple of years in Toronto, I really didn't take to what he was telling me until I really went to Japan and, you know, gave myself an opportunity to really have an opportunity to play every day and really understand the art of hitting. And when I came back, you know, hitting was easy at that point.
In regards to, you know, everybody that you've been surrounded with throughout your lifetime, you know, obviously there's going to be negative people in your life that are going to try to pull you down, you know, because they don't want to see you succeed. How did you overcome or, you know, just brush those people off, basically?
Well, I mean, I'm a guy that probably gets along with everybody. Every time I go to a different team, we always had a good time, and I was, you know, probably right in the middle of that good time. But, you know, I just didn't surround myself with negative people. I think that's what you have to do. You know, you have to pick those folks, you know, that are around you, you know, from the beginning, whether it's in Detroit when it was me, Alan Trammell, Sweet Lou, Kirk Gibson, Tony Phillips, Mickey Tettleton. Man, I had my partners. I mean, then when I came to New York, the kid was right there next to me. Tim Raines was on the other side. You know, David Cohn and I have been together since the Kansas City days. I mean, it kind of made my transitions easy because on both of the teams that I had come back to, you know, I had people there. So it just made it easier, you know, having, you know, two of the greatest managers in baseball history, you know, Sparky Anderson. Well, let me back it up. My first manager in the big leagues was Bobby Cox. My second manager in the big leagues was Sparky Anderson. And my third manager was Joe Torre. I mean, hello? I mean, I'm in good company.
So now you've mentioned so many different people, you know, coaches and things like that that are extremely motivational. So obviously networking is a huge part of your career. Oh,
it's been helping me since. I mean, a lot of things that I do, even coming to New York, you know, having my, you know, restoration company here, whether it's me coming, you know, to work at the stadium, whether it's coming for me to do something with Steiner Sports. I mean, there's so many different things that I could do, especially having an opportunity to play for the New York Yankees makes it even better because a lot of teams don't do the things that the Yankees do. Whether it be the old timers game, whether it has, you know, some of the retired players coming back and doing suite visits, whether it's, you know, going down and going to fantasy camp. I mean, the Yankees keep us connected, you know, and I was actually talking to Mr. Illich, who's the owner of the Tigers once. I said, Mr. Illich, I got to ask you a question. I said, listen, all my damage, I mean, everybody knew me as a Detroit Tiger, okay? I said, and the Tigers do nothing for their alumni. You guys don't have any functions. You don't bring guys in to do suite visits. You don't have an old timers. You have nothing. So he asked me one time, why don't the guys come back to the stadium? And I said, I just answered the question for you. You don't do nothing for them. And at the end of the day, the Yankees are just that first-class organization that you'll see more ex-players at that stadium over the course of the year than their guys out on the field.
That's why they have the strongest fan base.
They got the strongest fan base. You know, me just walking in the city sometime, you know, people always say, oh, Seth, thanks for 96. I mean, somebody says that to me every time I come to New York. And they don't forget. I mean, they don't forget, you know, the trials and tribulations the Yankee franchise had gone through since, say, 78 to 95 when they almost made it. They got to the playoffs, got beat by Seattle. And then '95, Joe comes in. Joe's never been a winning manager anywhere. You know, he just left St. Louis, which St. Louis was playing Atlanta in the playoffs, and Atlanta got to the World Series by beating St. Louis, and our team got to the World Series by beating Texas and Baltimore, which were two very good teams. So, you know, I just think that really started, you know, our run.
Obviously, the Yankees, they do so much more for their fan base. Is that something that, you know, you're very interested in doing, like, charitable events, speaking events, things like that?
Well, I come in when I can. You know, like I said, I do have a couple businesses to run. I mean, I'm kind of spread out. Matter of fact, I was actually home Saturday. Well, no, excuse me. I was home yesterday and flew back out today. I was actually here on Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm pretty busy, and my schedule's pretty busy. But, you know, during the season, it's pretty much scheduled out when they want you to come in, you know, especially when they have like a FedEx in the building or one of the larger companies that they want to have some guys in. They'll reach out when Steiner has something they need me to do, Jessica and Steve. I mean, you know, I talk to him pretty much every day anyway. So at the end of the day, you know, if there's something need to be done, as long as I can work it into the schedule, I try to.